Yo, 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 yo. What's good? Happy New Year. I am I'm here because I was walking down the street and some inspiration hit me, and I've been playing around with it. I've been like recording on my own and making voice notes, but I have not jumped on live. I've not made any videos to put out, and I decided to reduce all the barriers I could and just jump on live because like otherwise I was gonna find a way to like not do it. My hair not done, or I need another outfit, or my office is not clean enough, or something like that. So I'm reducing all barriers. I just wanna check. I just need to do a temperature check. I know I've been going through my own stuff. I lost my mom a couple months ago, so I've been really processing that, and it's just so funny how even in processing all of that and experiencing all of it with it being so fresh, that now is the time when I'm feeling like inspired to do the thing that I've been trying to do for the last 3 years. I've had like serious speaker block. I don't know if it's been a psychological thing. I've had to fight my way back through it. I feel like I've been going through rehab for a speaker. I can't really explain it, but in the midst of all of that, I've started a business. I've done so many things that I talked about when I was doing fill up in my garage. As y'all can see, I'm no longer in a garage. I'm actually in my own home office. Your girl moving on up. You feel me? I ain't in a garage no more. But I'm thankful for the garage. I'm thankful for everything I learned in the garage. So I don't know if this is gonna be like a new version of Fill Up with Friend. But whatever. It's time for a new thing. Maybe it's time for a new thing. I will do a new thing, So anyway, I wanted to kind of just jump on here and, share some of the things that came to me while I was outside for a walk. I love to take walks. I walk every day. I probably walk a minimum of 2 miles every day. And before everybody's like, ooh, it's not for health. Like, I'm not getting my heart rate up like that. Like, I'm getting the energy out. I'm thinking, I'm clearing my mind. I'm doing whatever. Sometimes I can walk. Is my point. And so I just kind of wanted to share some of the things that I have. I also want to give the context that, for me, all of the basis of my spiritual walk, my spiritual journey, what I believe about like right living and all of that stuff is based in the tradition of the Southern Black Church. That's where I come from. That's how I was raised. When hard times come, the first thing that comes up in my mind is a scripture. Okay. Through a lot of different experiences, I got outed at church. I was a part of a white evangelical cult. I did all kinds of experiences, right? Despite all of that, I know that I am able to both be who God has made me to be and also believe in the principles that are taught in the Bible. And I think that there are a lot of things that we miss, that the Bible and Jesus was trying to get to us because of some of the teaching that we were sitting under. So I am no longer a practicing Christian in the Western way, but the doorway that I walked through in order to understand the mysteries of the universe was through the doorway of Christianity. So when I talk about spirituality, I'm going to always talk about it from that reference point, from that point right there. That's the door I'm going to go through. But I have read other texts, sacred texts. I've listened to other teachers, and they all align, and so anyway, I just kind of wanted to give that context on, whatever. So I wanted to talk about what salvation really is, and how I see what I see salvation is. And especially with the events that are unfolding around us, even currently, with the crash of the American Airlines airplane and the military chopper, prayers and all positive energy and love to those families and everyone who's affected by that. With the recent election and inauguration of your boy in the White House, I think now more than ever we need to do a temp check on what we see as salvation and what we see as peace, because I'm thankful to have had my definition of those things evolve over the last decade, maybe even decade and a half. And so this thing came up while I was on the walk, so I just kind of want to share it. It's John 14:27. Now, if you're checking this out and you like, Lord, she about to be in the Bible, like, preacher, just give me a second. I just, like I said, the doorway that I walk into my spiritual journey is through Christianity. So that's kind of the basis for me. That's where I'm gonna come from, because it's literally a second language for me. My parents made me memorize biblical scriptures. Yeah. So anyway, stick with me. I'm saying all of that to say stick with me. John 14:27 says, peace I leave with you. This is Jesus talking. Jesus says, peace I leave with you. I am not giving you temporary peace. Now, this is French translation. I also want to say this is how I read it. When I read it, this is how it comes out. Peace I leave with you, Jesus said. I'm not giving you temporary peace like the things of this world. Okay? The things of this world, cars, relationships, jobs, success, money, status, all of the things of this world. You can obtain those things and they will bring a measure of peace. So Jesus is like, I'm leaving you with my peace. And to clarify, it ain't the peace. It ain't the little, the little bull around here where it's like a little temporary peace, right? But I leave you my peace. So he wanted to double down on that. Like, I'm leaving you my peace, the one I got, right? My peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. So now I'm going to read it without all of the interruptions. John 14:27 says, peace I leave with you. I am not giving you temporary peace like the things of this world, but my peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. Let not your heart be troubled and do not be afraid. Hi, thanks for joining. And so that's what it is that Jesus is giving us. That's the sauce. And I also, in order to kind of follow what I'm saying, we kind of got to take Jesus out of this, we got to reframe Jesus, right? Like, y'all remember when Jesus is the homie? Y'all remember those t-shirts? You know what I'm saying? Like, they was kind of on to something, okay? I need you to see Jesus like the biggest Instagram influencer of his time. Jesus was a person. None of this works if Jesus is not a person, right? Because I remember growing up and they were like, Jesus was perfect. He was da 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 da. And then they would also be like, there is no perfect man. But then I'm supposed to be like Jesus and Jesus was perfect, but ain't no way that I could ever be perfect. Do you see how that causes tension? Okay, the truth is Jesus was a man and Jesus was coming to give us game. But Jesus didn't just say it's like this, and this. Jesus spoke in code because the haters was listening. Okay, the fact of the matter is the principles work no matter who is working it. The principles gonna always work. Okay, and so Jesus is like, my peace I'ma leave with you. Okay, when Jesus is saying my peace I'm gonna leave with you, he's saying the peace that I have showed you how to access. Okay, I've shown you how to access the source of peace that is inside of you. If you read the rest of that chapter, Jesus is he's spitting some stuff, but he asked them like, who do people like? How do people see me? I want you to understand that when I say that I'm from God, like, I want you to know that you from God too. That's what he was on. That's what was getting him all mixed up. Okay. Now imagine if somebody today tried to say that. They gonna get crucified. Okay. So if we can take down all of the stuff, I don't know the right thing because I'm not trying to sound like, I'm not trying to be blasphemous or anything towards something that people, are holding to or what people believe. But we gotta put Jesus. We got to put Jesus where he belongs. And when I say where he belongs, I mean, if you put Jesus up here, who wasn't a human that couldn't be touched by nothing because he was perfect, then you'll never be able to relate. And you'll always think that what Jesus was doing and what he was talking about is beyond you. When really Jesus came into a body to be an example of those things. But we deified the body and miss the principles. We deified the personality of Jesus and we miss the principles of Jesus. Okay, that's what I'm learning. Okay? And so when Jesus was like, yo, the folk about to come get me, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to leave you with my peace. And what he says in the rest of that chapter is, you've been watching me. You've been with me long enough to know how to get to the peace. And that's what I'm saying today. Like, when things like today, when days like today, when months like today, when realities like today come into play, that's when we get tested on whether or not it's really in us. Okay? Are you a potted plant or are you a planted plant? Okay? You know, did you get planted or did you get potted? Right? I got it temporarily, but when the thing come up, I ain't really got it. And that's what Jesus was saying. Like, you've been rocking with me all this time and you still don't know how to get to the peace? That's what salvation is. Salvation is peace. Salvation is not a prayer. No shade. Salvation is not a prayer. Salvation is quite literally peace. What does salvation mean? Salvation means to be saved from something. Am I getting saved when I get to the afterlife? What am I getting saved from? I'm dead already. Salvation is for now. Salvation is incomprehensible peace. Because all this world has to offer is what you hear on the news every day. That's it. There is no new story. Somewhere in the Bible it also say, ain't nothing new under the sun. Oh, great. I'm glad that I can make you think about something. Thank you so much, Fly Girl. See? So, you know, salvation is literally peace. When you accept Christ, right? Meaning the personality, meaning the principles that he followed, the ideas of Christ. When you accept those principles into your life, you receive salvation from what? I'm going to use, listen, anxiety. I can't tell you how many people I'm around and even myself deal with anxiety at a deep level. And we've been dealing with anxiety, especially black folk, black and brown folk. I know as a black woman and as a lesbian woman that grew up in the church in the South, all I know is anxiety. I was always scared somebody was going to tell my business in church. I was scared that the prophet was going to stand up and be like, gay, you like girls in secret. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going to happen. I was anxious. Okay? And so salvation is literally freedom and to be saved from the anxiety of that. That's what salvation is all about. I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly, right? Like that's what Jesus said. I came down here to give y'all the truth so that you can have life, so that you can live this thing and do it to the fullest. That's what the whole point of the story of Jesus, the man of Jesus, okay? Us getting to know the story of who this man was, who was talking about these principles. He wasn't the only one talking about the principles. But he had to, you know what I mean? He had that thing on, you know, that sounded weird. He had the something special. Okay. Salvation is not a golden ticket into heaven in the afterlife, but it's freedom from pain and anxiety right now in this earthly body. What kind of loving God would give you a solution after you've already ended the problem? That doesn't make sense. So that's what I think. The other thing that I want to say about like right now, when we thinking about all of the turmoil that's going on, everything that's going on, every day we hearing something, oh this, oh that. I turned it off. I had to turn it off. In 2020, my then fiance, now wife, blocked CNN, MSNBC, all of them. She blocked them all off my phone and off of the TV because, you know, it was causing anxiety. But I just want to point out that none of the great teachers, whether or not you come in through Christianity or what your entry point may be, none of the great teachers ever told us to focus on what we didn't want. None of them. It don't matter what, you can run the gamut. There's not one practice that encourages you, that asks you, that advises you to focus more on what you don't want than what you do want. They all they say, they all said that that we have to go inside. One thing that I heard, and it stuck with me, my mom was reading this book. She was getting into new age spirituality, and I think my mom wanted to go deeper into that. But again, you know, like when you caught up in like church and like religious stuff and whatnot, she just kind of fell back off of it. But she was reading this book. My mom actually is the one who introduced me to these concepts, you know, beyond, you know, what the letters of the pages say and what the preacher is saying on the pulpit, to really interpret the word through esoteric means to make myself every character in the Bible. I learned that from my mom, right? Like I remember as a child reading, you know, Jonah in the belly of the whale, and my mama being like, what belly are you in? What got you caught up? What are you saying no to? Right? So I always lived with this understanding that I was supposed to see myself in every character of the Bible. But when we make ourselves separate from the characters of the Bible, we miss the principle. Like we miss it. And so all of the great teachers tell us that we have to find the source inside of us, because all we are is God wrapped in flesh, all of us. That's it. And the whole reason why we got wrapped in this is so that the source of everything, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, cosmos, whatever name you want to give it, can experience what it is to live life as me. To live life as you. And it's sad that there are some people that will live and die and never know what it's like to live. They will breathe and stop breathing, but never live. And so when we talk about experiencing peace and having salvation, really what we're talking about is understanding and accepting that these are the times that require for us to have something deeper inside. They require a special set of tools, if you will, you know, in order to live a dynamic life. There are so many people living. I think a great awakening that we had, and we might not even really realize it right now, was in 2020. 2020 was a great awakening because people realized they got shook out of the mundane. I get in the car, I drive to work, I do my work, I come home, I warm up a microwave dinner, I sit in front of the TV and watch a whole bunch of Love is Blind and whatever else, and then I get into bed and I do it all over again Monday through Friday. But when people tapped out of that for a second and they saw what was really going on and how many hours are actually in a day, and you know what being outside was like for a second, and just getting some fresh air or whatever when you've been deprived of it. Okay, I think that was a moment that people were like, I don't want to live a stagnant life. Those people, in my opinion, they accepted the idea of Christ consciousness. They became aware. Right? They're not just living a stagnant life. They're living a dynamic life. When something is dynamic, it is characterized by constant change, activity, or progress. I love a good definition. Just so we're clear. When something is dynamic, it is characterized by constant change, activity, or progress. Dynamic meaning the version of me that you see right now is, this is going to be the first and the last time that you see this version of me, because I'm living a dynamic life. I'm always changing. There's constant activity and there's always progress. I'm always changing. There's constant activity and there's always progress, because I live a dynamic life. When something is dynamic, you can tell when something is dynamic because those things exist there. Right? So when someone comes around me, it's like, here today, gone tomorrow, because I'm always on to something else. When I was doing Fill Up with Fran in 2020 in my garage, okay, if you're coming back looking for that same Fran, I'm not in the garage no more. To God be the glory. Okay? I aligned with the principles of dynamic living. That's how we get to the peace. That's how we get to salvation, is to align ourselves with the principles that Jesus was talking about. But we made it about a prayer. Or we got told it was about a prayer. We got told it was about a whole bunch of rules. We got told that every time we came to church, God was always looking for us to confess how terrible we are. while also telling us in the book of Psalms that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Which one is it, Lucy? I don't know. Okay? It can't be both things. And so, according to what I've learned in my 30-something years of living, okay, getting healed from church hurt and religious trauma and all of the things, what I've come to know is that my relationship with God is just that. It's mine. The second thing I've come to know is that salvation is more than a prayer. Salvation is the ability to tap into the source of peace that exists on the inside of you. Why peace, friend? Why not love? Why not this? Why not that? I'm gonna tell you the truth. The truth is, you are the frequency of love. You might just be low. What you need to pull into you is peace. That's the gift that Jesus left with him. He said, when Jesus was leaving, Jesus was saying, I'm going to leave and I'm going to leave with you a comforter, which is the Holy Spirit. So when we talk about the Holy Spirit in church, what we're really talking about is peace. You're already love. You're already love. Peace, my peace I will leave with you. You got to figure out how to tap into what's been left, what's inside of you, what's left inside of this existence, this humanity that you haven't yet explored. Okay. You know, like I said, so Jesus is like, I came to give you life and to give it more abundantly. Jesus came to give us the keys. And we made it about prayer. We made it about coming down to the altar. No shade. I went to the altar every Sunday from like 9 to 11. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been speaking in tongues since I was 10. Right? Jesus came to give us the principles for dynamic living. When a person is dynamic, the definition of a dynamic person is a positive attitude, and they're full of energy and new ideas. When you have accepted peace, when you've accepted Christ consciousness, when you move into that knowing, that relationship with God, the depth of that, right? You recognize that you have a positive attitude. Okay? Despite what's going on around you, because you know how to tap in. Okay? You have a positive attitude and you're full of energy. When everybody else is tired, you're motivated. You're up. You're going. Why? Because you're tapped in. I can be on this live as long as my phone will let me, without plugging it up to a source. And it's the same for you. You can only run for so long before you have to tap into the source. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's my iPad, my computer. It doesn't matter what it is. Eventually, I'm going to have to plug it into a source of energy. And so a dynamic person has tapped into that source of energy. And now they have the positive attitude. They are full of energy and full of new ideas. Full of new ideas. New ideas just flood through them. And guess what? They got the energy to act on. Like I said, I've been kind of like in a rut for the last couple of years. Not in a rut. I shouldn't say that, because like your girl's been winning. I'm not in the garage anymore, right? What can I say? When it comes to speaking, I feel emotional right now, because this used to come so easy to me, and there was a period of time where it didn't. And I can't believe, one, I'm on live, and I can't believe, two, that I'm doing so well. To love doing something so much and then to wake up one day and feel like it won't come out. And then one day to like step up and here I am. Because I'm living a dynamic life, and I want us to live dynamic lives. You know, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you tap into that source. You have the positive attitude that draws the right circumstances. You have the energy to follow through on all of the brilliant new ideas you have. This is what salvation means to me. This is what it means to be saved. To me, this is worth telling everybody about it. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is what salvation is. Okay? Like to live a dynamic life. Anything that is dynamic is a force that stimulates change or progress within a system. And that's the truth. When we talk about being people of God, because I love that. I call everybody people of God. Hey, what's going on, people of God? Because we are, you know? One thing that I also recognize, like, in why understanding this stuff is so important right now is, like, when we look at the situation that we're in, you know, as a country right now, I gotta be honest with you. We did this to ourselves. We drew this to ourselves. And I'm not even talking about from a political standpoint. I'm talking about purely from an energetic, spiritual level. I want us to recognize that there is no teacher of this stuff that says focus more on what you don't want. A lot of people spent the last 4 years thinking about how much they didn't want Donald Trump again. And now look what we got. More Donald Trump. Because we joined our energy. We tapped into the source within us. Because the source don't care if you want good or if you want something that's going to hurt you in the long run. The source is there to do what you put in the order for it to do. And that's another something that they didn't give us right. Okay? The source is there to do whatever you want the source to do. So all that stuff about the devil made me do it, the devil made me do it. No. You are the devil. You are the devil. You are the one that is holding you back. You are the one that is getting in your way. You are the reason why you are experiencing the things that you currently don't want to experience right now. And if we can swallow that pill, if we can get clear on that, then you can be saved. That's the truth. The truth is you have to believe that God already exists on the inside of you, one. Then two, you have to be willing to accept that everything in your life, whether good or bad, is because of something that you drew to yourself. You drew it to you. And we drew this to us. But guess what? Just like we drew in a second turn, because all people who didn't want more Donald Trump did was join their energy to the people who wanted a Donald Trump. Voila. Boom. We can't focus on what we don't want. We have to focus on what it is that we want. And the way that we focus on what we want is through tapping into that source, that peace that's in us. What do you create out of peace? What have you created out of chaos? Ooh. What have you created out of chaos? Have you ever... I like to cook. I like to cook. I'll get in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? I really do, whip up some things. I'm kind of moving toward the level of like amateur home chef a little bit. And I know that when I cook a dish and I cook it with love, I can tell that it tastes different. Not just to me, but for the people who are eating it too. Right? Like, if I cook it and I'm kind of like, here, whatever, you can have this or that, you can taste it in the food. When they don't cook it with love, you can taste it in the food. And it's the same thing when we think about life. Are you living dynamic or are you letting life happen to you? Are you putting in on the things you don't want or are you focusing on the things that you do want? Are you giving thanks and do you have gratitude for the things around you that currently exists? I was doing a workshop earlier today at work, and I had everybody take a moment for gratitude. Say something about this job that you're grateful for. Hello? Because somebody woke up and didn't have one, and they want one. Hello? Because somebody woke up and they hate the team that they own. Hello, somebody woke up and they mad underpaid. So even in my workshops, even in professional settings, I have people stop for a moment of gratitude. Pause for a moment of gratitude. Because we're not going to get something different by focusing on what we don't want. It just doesn't work that way. And so when we're talking about experiencing peace in chaotic times and needing a refill, I want us to realize how much we hold responsibility in that. We hold responsibility in what we put our attention on. Yeah, the news is going on, but you can turn it off. You can turn it off. You can do 2 check-ins a day. And if 2 check-ins is too much for you, go down to 1. If one's too many for you, do it every other day. Have somebody give you a summary of it. You don't got to sit and listen to all of the chaos and what's going bad. Go and listen to something that is an alignment with what you want to experience, and watch everything change around you. When my YouTube algorithm changed, my life changed. Just being real. When my YouTube algorithm changed, when the stuff that I was watching and constantly filling myself up with changed, and I started listening to things that fed a dynamic life, everything around me changed. It like magic. If I were to lay out all of the stories of the things that got orchestrated in order for me to land right here in front of y'all, you probably wouldn't even believe it. In my life, I've probably hit the lottery like 8-9 times. I'm being honest. I've probably hit the lottery of opportunities, once in a lifetime opportunities, at least 8 or 9 times in my life. Being in the right place at the right time, and things just aligning all toward what I said I wanted. All the way up until this very moment right here, where I'm sitting on here with you. Okay? So, the long and short of it is, if we can align ourselves with the principles of dynamic living, then we can change our lives. If we can align ourselves with the principles of dynamic living, we can have the joy, we can have the peace, we can have the abundance, the success, the happiness, the health, the love, the romance. We can have all of that if we can align ourselves with the principles of dynamic living. And one of the main principles is you get what you focus on. What you focus on expands, beloved. What you focus on expands. So whatever you have or don't have, you're welcome. Whatever you have or don't have, you're welcome. You did it. Congratulations. Oh, you don't like what you produced? Paint with a different brush. You don't like your harvest? Plant a different seed. You don't like the music you're hearing? Sing a different song. It's all you. It's all you. There's no other source orchestrating your life but you. And God is in agreement with you. God is in agreement with you. I don't have it, God agrees. I don't feel good, God agrees. Okay? And so, why do we think that it says, we heard all our life, especially if you like me and grew up in the church, we hear all our life that the Lord, the answers of the Lord are yes and amen. Yes, and it is so. That means as soon as we say what we want, as soon as we acknowledge what it is that we want, through our language, through our emotions, okay, through our actions, the answer is yes, and it is so. And so the responsibility of that great power is to ask for what you want. Don't talk about what you don't. That's the first principle. And I don't really think I'm gonna go into any of the other principles today, because I feel like that's good. But be encouraged. I really want everybody to be encouraged. I really want us to really understand that peace is within you. And so, in the words of Jesus, I want to say this one more time. Peace I leave with you. I am not giving you temporary peace like the things of this world, but my peace I give you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. I love you. I'm cheering for you. We'll see what comes of it. God is good. Peace, y'all.